We are chilly in Western Canada. We've got the risk of localized flooding, heavy rain in Eastern Canada. I'm joined with Amanda Weldon, and we are in active weather coverage.
Our eyes here at the Weather Network are all on this Bermuda high, pumping up the moisture, Leeanna, and we're going to be feeling like spring very shortly.
Yes, double digits we could crack for Monday or Tuesday into Wednesday, especially across much of southwestern Ontario. We could hit about 15, 16 degrees, and then that risk of localized flooding with heavy rain on and off into Wednesday. And that pink line right here, that's where we run the risk of seeing some freezing rain.
You're right. To the south, we've got that southwest mild flow. To the north, we have that northern eastern flow, and cutting under that warm air, we're going to see that freezing rain risk. But let's talk about the localized flooding, because for the southeast, you're going to start to see that rain first.
That's right. We could pick up about a 30 to 50 millimeters of rainfall accumulation, but we are watching a system coming up from Minnesota, going across Lake Superior. Anywhere east is where we could pick up about 10-15 centimeters of snow, and then that rain moving in for southern Ontario by the time we get to Monday afternoon. So I know the TRCA has issued a flood outlook, and that will be in effect until February 22nd, so we can experience some excessive runoff with this.
I love learning about the characteristics of these storms. To the south, we're seeing that Gulf moisture, and to the north, it's actually because of some of that Pacific moisture coming from the prairies. But taking your eyes to the south, as you were mentioning, that 30 to 50 millimeters for those days, Tuesday and Wednesday, we could exceed the record temperatures as well as the record rain for those days.
Yeah, let's talk about these special weather statements in effect for that significant rainfall. So they span like Huron Shores, Georgian Bay, all the way up to North Bay, where we could see some mixing, some freezing rain, ice pellets, because that's really the line where we see temperatures that could be hovering around zero or just slightly below. So that runs the risk of seeing some ice pellets, mixed precipitation, and then southern Quebec too as well by the time we get to Monday night into Tuesday.
It's going to be a dreary, drizzly one, and even talking to our meteorologist Nadine Hines-Powell before, she said she wouldn't be surprised if some of these special weather statements turn into rainfall warnings. We'll continue to track this storm, but let's go outside to Chrissy Van. She's in Nanaimo, and she has a bit of an update for us on the BC coast.
Yeah, Amanda, I know Comox on Vancouver Island picking up about 30% of their annual snowfall, but it's all about the spring forecast.
Yes, it is. Join us February 26th. So far, these have been your Weather Network headlines. You can always catch more on theweathernetwork.com. Hi there, Amanda Weldon and Leeanna Mclean along with you, and we've got some headlining stories for Ontario. We're in active weather. Let's get into it. Well, Leeanna, it's all about this rain. Let's talk through the flooding risk.
Yes, we do run the risk of localized flooding, especially for southwestern Ontario. Anywhere in those yellow hues is where we could pick up about 30 to 50 millimeters of rainfall. On and off rain to Wednesday, so it is going to be quite the wet stretch, and it's mild Pacific air that we have at play as well. So we've got the chance to see some maybe double digits. So
yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to feel like spring in the south. And fun fact too, Toronto Wednesday is going to be around 9 degrees in the morning. Usually we're at -9 this time of year, so that shows you how mild it's going to be.
That's right.
And there's that warm sector pulling in that Gulf moisture as well as that warm air.
Certainly a southwesterly flow here. Anywhere north of the magenta line is where we could see some snow, especially east of Superior, places like Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins. But Sault Ste. Marie really on that cusp, because they could see some freezing rain, ice pellets with this, as temperatures will be sitting around that 0-degree mark or just slightly below, which will be supportive for those ice pellets. And then south of that, that's where we are dealing with that heavy rain. But the snowfall, Amanda.
Such a difference to Thunder Bay one day -12, while Toronto will be +12 potential. We do have that snowfall, and it's not the Gulf moisture we're tapping into here. It's Pacific moisture, a system we saw come over from the prairies, 15 to 30 centimeters expected. But really running the risk of that freezing rain and ice pellets, that's why we've got our eyes on here at the Weather Network.
Yeah, really. It carries into southern Quebec, even northern portions here. This is through Tuesday evening, so travel is certainly not recommended during these times because it could be dicey on the roads. But look at these temperatures. So anywhere in those green and yellow hues, that's where we will be above seasonal. But then, unfortunately, you know, there's always an end to this. We are still in winter, right? By the time we get to the latter half of the week, that is when we start to drop below seasonal.
The roller coaster that is February. Now
Yep.
let's talk about the roller coaster we dodged out in the Atlantic.
Yes.
This actually weather bomb.
Yes, exactly. It dropped 24 millibars in 24 hours. Now it will just skirt right south of St. John, so the Avalon Peninsula could be clipped with this. They could see some snow showers, some flurries through the overnight period. But by the time we get to Monday, we are largely dry for the most part.
And we'll continue to talk about the precipitation that will move into the Atlantic, but let's take you out to Pincher Creek, Alberta. There was snow, Leeanna.
Oh yeah, we picked up over 20 centimeters of snow. BC dry for the most part, dealing with Arctic outflow conditions, but it's all about the spring forecast, an all-day event February 26th. Your local start now. It's the Battle of the Air Masses here at the Weather Network. I'm joined with Amanda. We have cool Arctic air in the north, and for southern Ontario, we are dealing with mild air. Double digits potential, heavy rain possibility here. As we get through the midweek, we could pick up about 30 to 50 millimeters, and that brings us to our active weather coverage.
Well, it's all about the rain in southern Ontario. It's going to start early into your morning tomorrow as well, into Monday anyways, and then spreading up through Ontario. Toronto, you'll get into it late morning, Monday through Wednesday. Continuous rounds of rain, 30 to 50 millimeters. We even have special weather statements out for this.
That's right. The ground is still frozen, right, Amanda? So we can't absorb any more rainfall with this. Then we have the rapid snowmelt, the milder temperatures. So we will see some excessive rainfall. We want to stay away from creeks and rivers and streams as they could be rising very high through the midweek period. And we're also dealing with some snow east of Superior.
Yeah, taking you to the north, let's not discount the fact that we still have those lakes not completely frozen over. So you get that enhancement as well east of Superior, 15 to 30 centimeters expected. But I want to talk more to the south because it's not just the rain we're going to be seeing.
Yes, it's definitely those mild temperatures in southwestern Ontario. Places like Windsor, London, even the KW region could hit above 15 degrees. That's spring-like temperatures in February, so I'll take it.
Let's take you to the east now. Mixed bag of precipitation depending on where you are. That's why you want to keep it locked. We are going to start as snow in Newfoundland, changing over to freezing rain, into rain. Northern parts of the Maritimes getting that freezing rain potential. But let's talk about cold and calm in the prairies.
Yeah, so we had a lot of snowfall across the southern foothills. Cooler temperatures now at play, extreme cold warnings across northern Manitoba. But we have to go back to that flooding potential. Flooding is one of the most deadliest natural disasters in Canada, and flash flooding can happen. Here's the risks.
Well, we've got freezing rain, we've got ice pellet potential, flooding potential, snow. We're in active weather. Amanda Walden and Leeanna Mclean with you now.
You know, we run the risk of some localized flooding when the TRCA has the flood outlook in place, running until February 22nd. I know the Grand River Conservation Authority also issuing flood warnings for those in southwestern Ontario where you see those yellow colors. We could pick up a widespread 30 to 50 millimeters with this, Amanda.
And that's not even just the risk with the rain, Lee. It's also, we've got that frozen ground. You could get some ice accumulation in the rivers as well. And look at that warm sector pulling up that Gulf moisture. The southerly flow mixing with the northerly flow, and you have the clashing of air masses, and there we go. We've got that magenta line.
That's where we could run the risk of seeing some freezing rain as well as some ice pellets. North of that is where we are dealing with snow. It's system after system pushing in snow. We could see about 15 to 30 centimeters by the time we get to Wednesday. Look at this.
And let's talk further about that snow, because that swath of blue, that's actually moisture that came all the way from the Pacific. So to the south, it's Gulf moisture, both of them mixing together, and there's you go, our boundary. That freezing line is really north of Georgian Bay, passing through central parts of Quebec. Good news is it's out of a lot of main city central areas, but still a lot of commuters in these areas.
Yeah, that's right. Into southern Quebec, it's more so a story for Monday night, Tuesday. We could see Metro Montreal as well as Quebec City, eastern townships experiencing some freezing rain with this. And look at those yellow and green colors. That's where we could see double digits, Amanda.
Yes, it's going to start to smell like spring, you know, when the rain just hits the dirt. And oh, that's such a good smell.
Right?
I know that sounds weird. But anyways, the temperatures for some areas, the average of what it's supposed to be this time of year to what it's going to be into the week could be around a 20-degree difference.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you are a fan of the spring, well, you should take advantage of that. In Atlantic Canada, we could just be clipped by a system. The Avalon Peninsula could see some snow showers through the overnight period. And then we are watching Monday night into Tuesday and Tuesday night into Wednesday. That has northern New Brunswick and central portions under a special weather statement because we could see some mixed precipitation as these systems track into Atlantic Canada.
Okay, Leeanna, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Let's watch this video. Are you that person that's going to clean off your neighbor's sidewalk?
Okay, I certainly would. But here's the thing, I live in a condo and I pay condo fees, so guess what? They take care of that for me.
And everyone in Kamloops is taking care of their snow with all those snow blowers out, but don't worry, it's going to be calm coming up.
Yes, that's right. We still have those Arctic outflow winds, though, gusting near 90 kilometers per hour, but it will ease through the overnight period into Monday morning, but it certainly will be quite chilly across much of the south coast.
And let's talk about some of those temperatures, because usually in Vancouver we're around 8 degrees throughout the week. You're going to be seeing a lot of 1s and -20s in through the prairies, but don't worry, we've got that all covered for you. You're in the right place. Your locals start right now. Stay tuned for the rest of the details.
Spring-like temperatures expected for much of southern Ontario as we get through Tuesday and Wednesday, even double digits. I'm joined with Amanda, but it's all about the heavy rain that we are expecting as we start the work week, and but some of us are obviously going to be off. It's a holiday long weekend for those of us in southern Ontario, so happy Family Day to you.
I am so excited to talk about spring shortly, but we're going to dive into this. Active weather coverage starts now. Well, Leanna, this is what we've been talking about, this boundary crossing through Ontario, Quebec into the Maritimes, New Brunswick, even parts of PEI, getting into the freezing rain risk, the ice pellet mix. To the north, it's about the snow. To the south, that deep rain.
That's right. So we've got some heavy rain and then that warm Pacific air crossing across much of the country, but localized flooding risk, especially for southwestern Ontario. The TRCA has a flood outlook on until February 22nd. I know that the Grand River Conservation Authority has also issued a flood warning for places like Brantford, Cambridge, the Kitchener-Waterloo region, as we could see some excessive runoff with these mild temperatures as well.
Now, of course, we've got all of this rain coming down, but there's other things in place here. You could get those ice jams. You also have the cold ground. Now, it's not going to be able to absorb all of that rain, and do you see all that snow too? We've got snowpack melting. To the south, there's that warm sector bringing in that southerly flow into the north, that Pacific moisture you were talking about just moments ago.
That's right. We have a system that we should dive into for the northeastern Ontario. We could pick up about 10 to 15 centimeters anywhere east of Superior, so Sault Ste. Marie, and then they get another wave with a second system and the risk of some freezing rain, especially for northeastern Ontario. We've got special weather statements in effect for places like Manitoulin, and now this rainfall is what all eyes are on. We could pick up a widespread 30 to 50 millimeters.
So let's time this out a little bit. You can see right in the southwest corner, you've got that deep moisture. Hey, if you're in Toronto and you want to go out for a family day walk, maybe make it an early one, because the umbrellas will be up for the rest of the day.
Yeah, look at those special weather statements in effect from anywhere north of Godric all the way to the Huron shores, as well as Georgian Bay up to North Bay, where we could see some significant rainfall, also the risk of some mixed precipitation, even into southern Quebec. That's where we will run the risk of some localized flooding.
See, the trouble here, though, is that we've got that freezing rain and ice pellets. The good news is it's out of major city central areas, but a lot of Canadians still living up around cottage country north of Georgian Bay, and then as well into central parts of Quebec. So that's the thing to watch throughout Tuesday.
That's right, and of course we also have some snowfall to deal with. It's really a dynamic system, multiple precip types, 15 to 30 centimeters. So places like Timmins getting impacted by this. Like I mentioned, Sault Ste. Marie, anywhere to the south, that's where we have the battle of the air masses, right? It's mild in the south, cooler Arctic air in the north. But let's go outside to British Columbia. This is out of Armstrong. Amanda, look at all that snow on the ground.
I'm going to tell you, Leanna, I just came back from vacation and I'm just not ready, but British Columbia definitely got quite the punch of snow. We're finally calm, though, in the west, and we're cool and calm in the prairies, too.
That's right. We have those Arctic outflow winds for BC through the strait, gusting near 90 kilometers per hour, so it is certainly quite chilly here. But anywhere you live across the country, you've got your 14-day trend, your 7-day trend, and it all starts now in your local forecast.
Well, you've got two of us right now, Amanda and Leanna, with you. We have a lot of developing stories here at the Weather Network. Glad you're here. Let's dive into it.
Yes, we are dealing with a lot of moisture pushing in across Western Canada into Southern Ontario, where we run the risk of seeing some localized flooding, especially in southwestern Ontario as we get through the midweek.
And this has pushed us into active weather. And active weather means in the south something different than it means in the north, because we've got snow to the north. To the south, it's It's all about that flood risk. Umbrellas will be up, and the risk for hydroplaning will be there because look how much rain we are expecting.
Yeah, widespread 30 to 50 millimeters as we get through Wednesday. It will be on and off into Wednesday. But like you had mentioned, it's really like the battle of the air masses here because it's cooler to the north. We've got Arctic air in place. We could see a system moving up from Minnesota, crossing over Superior, picking up about 15 plus centimeters, and then the next wave into Tuesday, in through Wednesday, possibly 30 centimeters by the time we get to the midweek period.
I don't want to talk about the cold anymore, Leanna. I want to talk about this. We could be getting into the double digits for southwestern Ontario, pushing up. Even Timmins, you might get at that freezing mark. For Toronto this time of year, around Wednesday, actually, we're usually around -9. We're going to be at 9.
Yeah, which is incredible. We're talking a 20-degree difference here for a lot of locales across southern Ontario. But we are going to be dealing with a wintry mix. Special weather statements already in effect for northern and central portions of New Brunswick. We could see some mixed precipitation, some snow from the Avalon Peninsula as well. So, but it's all about those cold temperatures in the prairies.
The nights, -20s. The days into the minus teens, and that will continue. But I have a question for you, Leanna. Have you been out skating this winter yet?
No, unfortunately I haven't, but it is a staple when it comes to the winter games. Our very own Chris St. Clair explains the history behind ice skating.